Hey, I'm John Granado. That's Lance Zierlein. You can hear us mornings on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet, so you get all of our content here at SportsMap HOU. Lance, can we get a fair assessment of Stroud and D'Amico and the Texans team with such an offensive line that is where it's at, such a thin roster right now, no really great wide receivers? Are we getting an idea of what Stroud and D'Amico can bring to the table?
Nah, way too early. I mean, you got to have context. It takes context. These are just very small pieces of a puzzle that it takes a long time to put together. You don't do it after 1 year. It usually takes longer than that. So one game's impossible. You just mentioned some of the problems that they faced, which was an offensive line that was not going to be the offensive line of the future. And then you faced a team that is a very capable defensive team where C.J. Stroud had to face that team on the road with a subpar offensive line in his very first game as a Texan. So, no, I don't think it. I saw some things I was okay with about Stroud. Like, I'm not too high about it. I'm definitely not too low about it. It was okay. It's in the pathway of what I was expecting, which is fine. And D'Amico Ryans, I thought his defense. I definitely thought the Texans' defense was much better to watch the other day than the year before. I think they are a much more competitive unit.
And for the most part, without your two starting safeties, if Jimmy Ward was hurt and then Petrie got hurt, so you did that. It looked like Derek Stingley played much better, or we at least played well because we didn't hear from him for most of the game, right? They got a little bit of pressure. We got Anderson was getting in there a little bit, so that's good. Jonathan Greenard looked pretty good. I think you can judge a lot more defensively than you can offensively. I think they've got a lot more work to do offensively, don't you?
Oh, a lot more.
Yeah,
I think defensively they have better talent. Offensively, look, there's going to be continuity issues for the offensive line. It's going to take time to work out. C.J. Stroud has to get used to tighter windows, and so him understanding and recognizing coverages that they're trying to disguise. I mean, there's still a lot of work for C.J. Stroud that's probably going to last all the way into year 3.
I would like C.J. Stroud to try maybe do a little bit less than Dameon Pierce a little bit more, right? Bobby Slowick is a first-time play caller, probably wanted to show, and you know what? You don't want to be too conservative as a play caller, right? So you're not going to call as many runs, but maybe he looks back at that and said, we should have tried to run the ball. Of course, you don't have an offensive line that's going to be opening up holes either because, you're makeshift. And they did make the mistake. I don't know if would it have been the offensive line coach's fault to put Dieter in a tackle, or would that have been Slowick's fault?
That's probably the O-line coach's job because that's his unit. That one just didn't make sense because that's a big deal to have a tackle out there playing against the Ravens' speed. And Josh Jones is a tackle guard. Dieter's a center guard. So, that was obviously a huge mistake. It was magnified by the fact that they had a strip sack on the one play that Dieter was in. That one can't happen. I did like D'Amico Ryans, I think, was whoever made that mistake, D'Amico did not throw anyone under a bus. He gave a very
didn't know what he
coachy
said.
Coach answer where he didn't say anything, and that's fine. He's protecting one of his coaches, I think, and that's, I'm okay with that. But it was make no mistake about it, behind closed doors, they all know that was a huge mistake to do that.
And it's the first game, but it's certainly Dameon Pierce has got to be used, first of all, on third down more. I think you're pretty much saying we're going to pass the ball as soon as he's off the field, right? I mean, I don't think you're going to give Devin Singletary too many opportunities running the football, although you might. But Dameon Pierce can catch the ball too, right? And at least he'd be a decoy for C.J. Stroud to say, hey, we still have the possibility of running the football.
I think Dameon's got to be a 15 to 18 carry a game guy. Probably more like 16 to 19 if you really want to know the truth. I mean, I'd say 20, but that's not really realistic anymore. A lot of teams aren't getting that high with the carry total. But for the Texans to have success, he probably does need to tote the ball 17 to 20 carries. They need to take more off of C.J. Stroud's hands. And if he's running that much, that means they're having some success offensively. So I'm with you. He runs hard. There doesn't need to be any timing, or he needs to get and work himself into shape. Damian Pierce is ready for you to just give him the rock and let him bang around, because that's what he does.
Well, we saw that too. I mean, in a limited number of carries, he still runs hard, and he's still going to pick up yards after contact, which is nice to see. Give the ball. Come on, Bobby. Give him the ball more.
Give him the ball.
Let's go.